Welcome back to marketing. This evening I wanted to dive into Chapter 5, Preparing a Marketing Plan. If you'll look there on page 96 is where we're going to begin on Chapter 5. There's two types of plans you need to think about when you are diving into your marketing plan. One's going to be your business plan, okay? A business plan is your business goals. It's an explanation of how those goals are going to be achieved and the detailed steps. It's kind of like your roadmap. It's your detailed steps. What are you going to do to reach those goals? Now, this plan is very much different than your financial plan. A financial plan is the monies. How are you going to obtain the cash needed to open your business or to buy an existing business? So you really need to hone in those two areas when you look at a business and preparing a marketing plan. Now, I want to dive a little deeper into the business plan itself, all right? How to build a brand. Now, you must give a great deal of thought to the business even before beginning to write your plan. You've got to have an idea of your location. I know I keep honing in on that with every chapter that we've gone through so far, but I'm trying to get you to really hone in on your concept. What's your niche? What are you going to sell? What's going to set you apart from everybody else? Where are you going to sell it? What's going to be your concept or your brand? You got to think about your menu. You got to think about your building. I think I understand that in the last class you had last quarter, in one of the classes, you had to go ahead and do a floor plan of a business. Now, the thing that I want to get across to you specifically here now as we really start diving into a little more specifics of your executive summary, the SWOT, and again, we've already covered the 4 P's of marketing, is this business model needs to be something you're really interested in, something that you're going to put your heart and soul into. If in first quarter you came into culinary school thinking of doing a food truck, then you need to model this project after that. Or if you were going to open up again a bar and grill or whatever your vision was. Now, there are some other avenues that if a bakery was at the forefront of what you would like to do, you can certainly do that. We can work around that. I think one of you conveyed to me that you were looking into personal chef possibilities, and yes, you can model your business plan or your dream establishment around that. So if you've got any questions concerning your final project, please come to me. Let's talk about it so that we can all be on the same page. And remember, digitally save all of your work because each one of these components are leading up to your final huge project that you will be doing in menus and facilities, okay? All right, so your business plan, again, you've got to have location, you've got to have concept or your brand, menu, building layout, which I think most of you have already done that. You may be changing it up at this point, but you need to start, getting that concrete. You need to know how you're going to market and how you're going to pay for this. How are you going to fund this? A plan should be a communication device that provides a clear understanding of the operations, concept, and proposed location. It should serve its owners and managers as an operating tool that establishes a timeline for the establishment's development. Again, it is a roadmap. That's what your plan is. It's a roadmap on your development, financial target, what's going on in the operation. The plan should assist in fundraising by describing the operation's need for financing. If you don't have a business plan, you don't know what type of finances you're going to need to support that plan. Now, I want you to keep in mind a business plan, there is no set requirement for a business plan, but if you look there on page 99, there's definitely some typical information that's included in a business plan. One of those is your executive summary, which you will have to do in your project. A concept statement. You've got your operating plan, you've got your competitive assessment. You need to know who your competitors are. You can't compare, like I said, you can't compare a quick service with a fine dining. So you need to know what type of establishment you are so that you can compare yourself with like establishments. Your SWOT analysis. Vendor assessment, again, we've gone over this. This is repetitive. It ought to start coming together for you at this point. Marketing plan, financial plan, and anything else that you think is important. Now, I want to spend a few minutes kind of chewing on executive summary for a few moments. An executive summary provides readers of a business plan with the highlights of the plan, okay? Here's your highlights that you need to include. Your name, your location, a description of your establishment. What type of is it Japanese? Is it American? Is it French cuisine? Is it Tex-Mex? You need to have a description. And the purpose of your plan. You know, what are you doing this for? The next paragraph should highlight important points such as projected sales and profits. Now, we're not really getting into that in this particular project, but down the road you will. You'll do a pro forma financial statement. You'll do a projected sales. So you really need to have a good base understanding of what you're doing. You need to know your menu items. Again, here we go. We need to know who we are, where we're going to be located, what we're going to be selling, and to who we're going to be selling it. So those are things that you really need to be rolling in your brain with each step of this project and throughout this entire book here. This course here really is setting you up for business management, business ownership. That's what these particular courses are for. When you go into marketing, when you go into management, you need to view this from a management perspective. Last quarter, I think there was a difficulty with students understanding when we look at things, you're looking from either an employee because you work in the industry, or you're looking from a customer's sight of vision or viewpoint. You need to start looking from a management viewpoint, okay? Now, when we start talking about your concept statement, obviously, again, that's your menu items to be sold, your proposed price point. You need to know kind of an idea. I'm not asking you to cost out your menu items yet, but down the road you will. But you do need to be within the ballpark. Again, make sure you're in the ballpark. Make sure that you've looked around to see what your competitor would be selling the like menu item for. And what's going to set you apart? Again, that would be your niche. What are you going to do different? Remember I talked last chapter that because I'm more baking and pastry, that I would want to open a patisserie or a bake shop, if you will. But what would set me apart is it would be French inspired. That would be my niche, hands down. So we have in this area, we have a lot of bakeries, we have a lot of cupcake shops, we have a lot of different shops like that, but we don't have a lot of niche based. So you need to discover what is going to set you apart. What's going to be your niche? What's going to be that one thing that's going to encourage that consumer or that buyer to come to your establishment and not the establishment down the road. Now, your operating plan. That is something that's unique to each individual. It is something you need to think about. And there's several classifications. A lot of people, especially I think chefs in this industry, they can cook great food. They can be great people persons, but they're not business minded. And at the end of the day, you're in business to make money, okay? You're not in business to lose money. You're not working your butt off to lose money. So you do need to understand, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but you need to understand there are different classifications. When you get ready, if you ever get ready to open your own business, I would encourage you, make sure you talk to a tax preparer. Make sure a CPA is under your belt. I can tell you from years of my husband being self-employed and me being his CFO of his commercial electrical business that the main people we had under our belt was our CPA, all right, because you need someone who has a full understanding of tax reporting and the liability therein. You need to have a good banker, someone who's watching your money. You also need to have a good insurance person. The insurance person, he's the one that shops your insurance, finds you the proper coverage for whatever level of business or the stage of business you're in. So those are very important people. And part of that, when you're dealing with a CPA, and they'll help you determine this, but you're going to have to decide, are you going to be a sole proprietor? Sole proprietorship typically files under your personal income taxes, and there's no liability protection. So let's say a customer gets sick in your establishment or something like that. They're able to sue you personally as well as your business. That's why a lot of businesses that are at higher risk, and I would certainly consider the food industry higher risk, you're going to, at minimum, you're going to be LLC or a corporation. All right, so LLC gives you limited, if you ever see LLC, that's limited liability corporation. And then, of course, you've got C Corp, S Corp, and different filing responsibilities come with that. When you get ready, oh yeah, and there's also partnerships. I don't know, some people successfully do partnerships. I know personally we've been involved with 2 partnerships. But it's kind of like having, I'm going to say this, y'all are going to laugh. It's kind of like having 2 women under the same roof, You both can't be in charge. Somebody's got to submit to the other. And so partnerships, while they do work, can come with some complications. So definitely think about those. And if you get to the point where you're going to open a business, you'll think about what structure you want to be under. Keep in mind that if you choose like a corporation, S Corp, C Corp, or some variation of, corporations are set up totally separate from the individual, which therefore provides that liability protection. People can sue your company, but they can't sue you personally, supposedly. I'm sure there's loopholes to every legal thought that you have. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the DBA. So a lot of times, I know like for me personally, with my little sidekick stuff, technically, because I file under my personal income taxes, I'm Michelle Toller doing business as whatever the name of my company is. So a DBA is really kind of like just an extension of who you are. So your business legally is named after you, but then you're doing business as. People know you as Sweet Treats or the savory chef or whatever you name your business as. DBAs can be changed left and right. That's not an issue. Corporations, they're legal binding setup corporations. They cannot be changed without going through a legal process. We've covered that. Now, shareholders, all right, every corporation, and this is strictly corporations, it's not sole proprietors, because sole proprietors, you are the sole owner of that company. That would be like an individual. But corporations actually have shares of stock. Every corporation has 100 shares, and I know we've all watched TV and things like that, where, you know, the family member owns 51%, so they have the controlling interest of stock. That is how that works. So a company or a corporation can actually sell stock to stockholders, and then stockholders can derive a dividend, a profit, or however they're structured for that. All right, let's look at SWOT analysis. Now, SWOT is one of those things that you are going to have to do in your project, so I really want you to make sure that you pay close attention to page 104, 105, and SWOT analysis, it identifies the operation's strengths and weaknesses, okay? Your strengths are the areas in which your business excels, and you need to focus on that. You need to play on that. You need to know what that is. What is your strong suit? You also need to know what your weaknesses are, okay? Your weaknesses can, they definitely can be barriers to your success. As much as you want to play on your strengths, you need to know your weaknesses so you can compensate for those. Things outside of the establishment might cause a weakness. For example, if the product to be produced are difficult or take a long time to prepare because of lack of skilled labor, you recognize that that is a weakness. So you need to know this so that you can compensate for it or you can adjust it. Now, the establishment will not easily be able to prepare high quality food. So if you know that you're a fine dining restaurant, all right, and your niche is providing top quality meals, ingredients, menu items, and you don't have the skilled people to prepare those, that's a weakness, okay? So you need to know that. You also need to know your opportunities, all right? You need to know your opportunities. You should address realistic opportunities to either increase revenue or decrease costs. For examples of such opportunities include opening additional locations, franchising. Franchising is a great way to increase your revenue. And I'm reminded here, you probably heard it, I don't know, I'm going to give credit to Chef Dahl because this is a note that I put in my book. Know what you know what you don't know. And if you don't know it, be willing to learn it. We're all human. All businesses are an extension of us, and it's ever growing, evolving. Don't claim to know something you don't, okay? You need to know your threats. Identifying possible threats to a business is important to ensure that the threats are addressed or controlled before they cause damage. Okay, possible threats could include analyzing a portion of your business plan that included increased number of competitors, a price war with a competitor, increased taxes. You know, things like that. If you're not on top of that, they can damage your fine line. And there is a fine line when you're talking about managing a food establishment, okay? All right, so if you'll look there on Exhibit 5.4, I want you to pay attention to those. Look at the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats, because you're going to have to come up with those for your business. Your marketing plan, how much marketing plan is developed, or how the marketing plan is developed, how the budget is established, and how the plan is implemented. All that's unique to you, okay? That's unique to you. Managers can choose from a variety of key messages: being first, least expensive, most unique, the fastest, convenient, the widest menu selection. You're really going to have to, and you're going to have to develop an advertisement for your business. And what are you going to hone that advertisement on? Okay. Your market position refers to how an operation gets its target market to notice its services and consider them for future purchases. So you definitely need to pay attention to your marketing plan. Read through this chapter extremely carefully, and if you have any questions, definitely reach out to me. Now, in most cases, a well-conceived value statement can provide real worth to managers and their customers. The value statement may focus on an operation's features. Remember, we talked about features, menu items, and its benefits. Now, here are some of the features and benefits. I'm not going to read them all. I'm just going to touch on a few. Made with real Angus beef. That is a benefit of that menu item. Choice grade, 12 ounces in size. We've looked at these before in previous chapters. The same operation might choose to address the benefits its guests receive. So remember, we talked about features, but we talked about the benefits being the quality of the product on the menu. All right, or in contrast, the service that the customer's getting from the time they walk into the door till the time that they pay their bill and walk out. So those benefits add value to your establishment, to your plan. So keep that in mind. Some other knowledgeable things that customers are used to hearing are the best in town, number one, finest food and service, the area's favorite, none better. So really pay attention to some of that. Let's look at, and I don't want to dive too much into this, but let's look at the financial side of this, the financial plan, okay? I have flipped over to page 110. Well, let's start at the bottom of 109. While location is often mentioned as the single most important ingredient, and it is, proper financing is considered by many to be the second most important, and it is. Without money, there's no establishment. You can't make payroll. You can't even launch your business without the proper funding. A new operation's expenses accrue long before it opens. So you need to really think about what it takes to open a business. Financing provides the income the establishment needs during the period of unprofitability. So that means you got to have startup funding. So when you talk about startup funding, make sure you're paying attention to, you're going to pay your rent, you got to pay your bills, you got to pay your suppliers, but also you got to pay your payroll. You got to pay your payroll. And really, some say 3 months, some say a year. You may really think about 3 years down the road. How long or how your funding is structured will dictate how long you have to get your business up and running at a profitable margin, okay? Some common pre-opening costs. I don't feel like I need to really run down those. I want you to look at those. That's Exhibit 5.5. Also, let's see what else you definitely need to know in this chapter. We don't need to go through. There are grants and loan opportunities and things like that. And again, that's going to be unique to your business. If you're woman-owned, there's things that you can get into. If you're a minority, there's things you can get into. All of that will be unique to you and your business, to be honest. But I do want you to think about those. If you're going to include those in your financial thoughts for this project, you need to include them, please. Work Opportunity Tax Credits. The Work Opportunity Tax Credit is a federal tax credit granted to businesses that hire individuals from 12 target groups that have consistently faced significant barriers to employment. Okay? I don't think I need to spell that out. And let's take a look at the marketing plan just real quick, and then we will finish up this chapter. The marketing plan, for those seeking to open a new restaurant or food service operation, a well-developed marketing plan is an essential part of the overall business plan, okay? So you must develop a good marketing plan, or otherwise your business plan will never get off the ground. You'll never reach the individuals that you are wanting to bring into your establishment. Now, good marketing plans, gosh, they can increase your food check average if that's your goal with your marketing plan, to increase sales or to, add covers, or, well, adding covers is going to increase sales. Good marketing, a good marketing plan can do that. You can use a SWOT analysis to assess the operation and its current marketing environment. Identify marketing objectives, obviously, support its tactics, establish a marketing budget. Now, establishing a market budget. Your marketing typically is going to be budgeted a percentage of your sales, okay? So if, for sake of just simplicity, if you sold $100 and you budget 10% of your sales, okay, net sales, that would be after all of your expenses, obviously, 10% of that, you would be spending $10 on your marketing plan. So it's a good idea to know, how are you going to finance that? You need to budget for that. And of course, if the sales fall short, you may not market. You won't be able to implement your marketing plan. So usually, like I said, estimate of what the business can afford after other costs are paid. This is developing your marketing budget. Percentage of actual or forecasted revenue. Now, actual is what you take in. Forecasted is what you think you're going to take in based on what your POS said for last year or something like that, okay? Marketing plan objectives, amount spent on promotion by competitors of the business. All of this is going to play a role in your marketing plan, in your business plan, in your financial plan. They all really go hand in hand. So we've already covered, I'm looking there on page 120, we've already covered how to budget, and they're using 5%, I use 10%. Implementing the marketing plan, obviously you will ask yourself what needs to be done. What needs to be done? As far as our roadmap, what needs to be done? Who's going to do it? When will it be done? Is this a holiday promotion? Is this a promotion overall to increase sales? Do we need a group of people? Are we going to just assign one person? Those are questions that you can ask yourself. So anyway, this chapter really covers the executive summary. Again, I want you to be aware that you do need to turn in an executive summary based on the line items that is in your grading rubric for the project. You also need to start thinking, or I should say continue to think about your 4 P's of marketing. Your product, your price point, how you're going to promote it, and you also need to think about your SWOT analysis, your strength, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and then your threats, okay? Definitely don't forget, always, I'm going to remind you after every chapter, do your review your learning, and also make sure to leave a answer to the daily case study question. That is your attendance for the day. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or reach out. I am here for you, and thank you so much for allowing me to be your instructor. I look forward to see where your endeavors take you, obviously, towards the future. All right, well, until the next chapter, chapter 6, I sign off for now. Bye-bye.